Welcome back to Solo Adventures! My name is Livy, and I'm here today to talk to you about a game that very recently launched on Kickstarter, Get to the Checkpoint. Get to the Checkpoint is the new retail name of a game that I covered a ways back, and that was Get to the Chopper. Yes, Get to the Chopper, which was an entrant in last year's Solitaire P&P contest, is getting a final retail release, and this game is live on Kickstarter. This game is currently doing extremely well, as it has reached more than 300% of its original funding goal. Get to the Checkpoint plays very similarly to its prototype version, with a few extra twists and of course lovely new artwork. I was given a special P&P demo edition of this game to play for you here, so we can see how this new version of the game plays. So without any further ado, let's venture forth. Okay, so here we are, set up for another game of Get to the Checkpoint. Setup is pretty simple, we just have everything all laid out here. We have each of the Contact and the Salvage decks shuffled independently. And then we also shuffled up the Zone cards. So I think the reason why the Zone cards are in two pieces is because you could probably shuffle them so you could mix and match between the different maps and the different zone descriptions, but for the purpose of this playthrough, we're just going to keep things standard and yeah, keep them paired up. So at the beginning of the game, we have 12 troops, and our supplies and ammo are both set at 6. So you have 9 dice in this game. I have a couple more off to the side because sometimes you need a few more for some different things. And these are going to be what we are rolling to figure out what actions we can take on every turn. Over here we just have a stack of reference cards, which are pretty handy to have. So I'll just set them over here. I think the best way to teach you this game is to just start playing it. So the first thing that we do when we start a new game is we have to roll to see if any of our troops were injured. So the story is that we are flying over some remote part of South America and our helicopter has crashed, and now we need to try to work our way through the jungle until we can get to a checkpoint where we can be rescued. So before we even start the game, some of the members of our squad might be injured or even dead, so let's see. So we roll 3 dice and we take a look at the injury table. And we resolve them from highest to lowest. It doesn't really matter so much here, but it's just good to keep this rule in mind. So for 5, we have a wounded member who is killed. No one's wounded, so that just means that one active member is now wounded. If we rolled a 2, we have an active member who is wounded. And if we rolled a 1, we have no effect. So luckily, things are not too terrible, just 2 wounded from our squad. So here's where we start on this base, and we have 2 different ways that we can get to our checkpoint. So reading the description over here, we can see that we are in the River of Sorrow, a lush tropical zone filled with ferns and lava pits. However, there are also dinosaurs, and we can see that we're trying to get to an abandoned Dino Tech research lab, and when we get there we'll get some ammo and supplies and have a chance to recover, but first we have to get there. So we could try going on the slightly shorter path, but there are no areas that are overgrown, which will give us more places to hide and will boost our defense. Or we can go the slightly longer path and we can have 2 of these areas here where our defense is boosted. But in this case, I think we're going to head that way. So at the beginning of our turn, we just roll our 9 dice. And we see what we have. So most of these dice we're going to be able to re-roll, but not the ones. When you roll a 1, you immediately have to move them over into the contact area, and this is going to represent the enemies that we're going to fight. We can re-roll any of these dice up to 2 times, then after that we have to keep the result. But I see here that I have some 6s, and these are always good, because they're basically wild cards. You can use them however you like. So I always take the 6s out here. And here we have 3 4s, which will be for our stealth, but what we don't have is any 3s, and we're going to need to roll a 3 or use one of our command dice if we want to move. So I can see that we're going to have enemy contact over here. I don't know if our stealth is going to be enough to get around this enemy, so let's just try to reroll. Got another 6, that's very good. And a 5, which is engaged, so this is a combat die. And we have a 4, which is stealth, but I'm going to roll it one more time. 2, so this means that we get to draw on the salvage deck. All right, so after we roll the 9 dice, we can see here on our card, the next thing that we do is we salvage. So when we salvage, we draw 1 card. And, oh no, so often when we salvage, we're going to be able to gain some ammo or some supplies, but in this case, this actually hurts us, so we're going to have to roll for injury. 5, a wounded member is killed. We are not off to a good start here. Then we would march if we could, and let's march once. So I'm going to take one of my command dice and make that a 3, so we'll move 1. And now we have to deal with the enemy. So we draw a contact. We take a look at the symbol here, and here we can see that this is an alien. If it had been a dinosaur, this enemy would gain a +1/+1 in this zone, but thankfully it is not. So we just have a normal enemy here. Its firepower is 5. However, there are 2 additional dice in this box here. So that means that we add a +2 to each of its stats. So that means that its awareness is now 4. And its firepower is now 7. Well, yeah, we don't have any stealth dice. If we had had 4, we would have been able to sneak around this. But we don't, so we're going to have to fight. I will just take the engage and the combat dice here. And let's see what we can do. Okay, so looking at the combat table, we roll from highest to lowest, so we have 3 6s. That's really, really good. Each of these are 3 hits to the enemy, so bang, that's already taking the firepower down to 0. For each hit that we make, we adjust the firepower by 1. So yeah, this is now our enemy card defeated, and we can set it aside for scoring later. At the end of the game, we're going to be able to calculate all of the enemies that we defeated and some various other statistics to find out our final score. So that was that turn. Let's see if we can get any farther next turn. Just 1 contact here. And 2 6s. Maybe I want this 2 because it would be nice if we could get some more equipment. We're going to need to fight, so we'll put that here. Want to march, and let's march twice. Let's put 1 in stealth because I don't think we're going to be able to sneak around this enemy, but if we can't, then that means that we can just move this stealth die over to engage, so we will have an additional die to fight with, and let's re-roll this one. 5. I'm okay with this. So then we salvage a jungle egg that gives us +1 to supplies. If we had had more than 1 die in this box, we would add an additional 1 to whatever this was. So we would have had, for example, a +2 instead of a +1 if we had had 2 dice in this box. Then we march. And you know, we have a lot of combat dice, so I think we can probably manage with 4, so let's use this command die over here to march again. And now look at our enemy. Okay, the voodoo doll, it has a firepower of 10, so that is not nice. So yeah, maybe I should have kept that command eye. Let's see what we can do. Yikes. All right, so first we have roll the 3, so that means we've done 1 hit. He's down to 9. And we have 2 2s, which are also just 1 point of damage. And a 1, which is nothing. So the voodoo doll still has 7 firepower. That is nasty. That means it gets to roll 7 dice. And we have to check and see what that is on the injury chart. So 7. All right, so 6 means an active member is killed. We have 2 3s. That means 2 actives are wounded. We have 2 2s, which also means that 2 actives are wounded. And we have 2 1s, which thankfully mean no effect. At least we don't have to fight this another round because it's just a normal enemy and not a boss. So technically it counts as defeated. However, we have suffered pretty terrible damage here. Okay, next turn. 1 contact. No 6s, unfortunately. We have 3 march, and I'm going to spend them because I want to get out of here. 3 2s. I'm just going to re-roll all of these, I think, though. I want more 5s and 6s. Yes. Put this one on salvage and I'll roll this one last time. 4. Okay, then we march after we roll. 1, 2, 3. Oh, pardon, we're supposed to salvage after we roll, but I guess it doesn't really matter in this case. Ray gun attack, roll for injury. 5. A wounded member is killed. Then we have our enemy contact. Oh no, a boss. So this guy has 8 firepower, and we're going to have 4 dice to roll against him. I really don't want to suffer the same losses that we did last time if we can all avoid it. But if we can't defeat him this round, we're going to have to go for another one. And then in that turn, we can only use ammo, which I think I'm going to save for that. So let's fight. 1 6, that does 3 points. And a 5, so that does 2. And a 2 4s. Which each do 2. So, yeah, we're okay. We defeated the boss. No 1s! That is very, very lucky. 2 commands. I'm not going to save these if we don't have contact. Salvage can be dangerous, but let's just try. So I really like that we are not having to fight this round, so I'm not going to re-roll these. So let's march 3 times. 1 2 3, Excellent, we're at the checkpoint. And let's salvage. Terrified local, +1 active, +1 because of the die, so we have +2 active. Fabulous. And then, yeah, we ended our turn at the checkpoint. So now two things are going to happen. We're going to get our rewards for being at the checkpoint, and then we're going to have to roll for recovery. So it says here that we get a +1 ammo, +2 supplies, and recovery rolls are all at +1. So we have 4 wounded soldiers over here. That means that we are going to roll on the recovery chart 4 times, but we get to add +1 to every result, which will hopefully mean that more of our guys survive. Okay. So 1 + 1 is died of wounds. So I guess too bad for this one. 3 and 1 is 4, no change. 4 and 1 is 5, the wounded goes active. Very good. 5 and 1 is 6, wounded goes active. And then what we have to do is we need to count up all of our squad members. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Divide by 2 and round up, which gives us 5. And that's the number of supplies that we're going to have to spend. So we are already down at 4. Not great. But, yeah, we get to go to the next zone now. This is the Valley of Dancing Lights. It says, keep your eyes on the sky and stay anal probe free. I think that sounds like a good idea. This time we're trying to make it to an abandoned village, and there we can also get some more supplies and more ammo. So here on the path, we can see that we have red spots and we have yellow spots. So in the red zones, this means that we have places where we can hide and our defense will be boosted. And in these yellow or orange areas over here, this means that we are out in the open, it's a clearing, and we're going to both do and take more damage. So, let's hope luck is on our side. Already have 3 contact. But 3 command. Let's keep that here. And here. We're not going to salvage, but let's march, because if we don't, we'll never get out of here. Let's go 2. And let's see what we have for contact. Cannibal, his firepower is 4 plus 2. I think I can take this guy. Let's see. All right, 2 6s, which means they each do 3 points of damage, and he's dead. Yeah, I think I do want to salvage, especially because we're getting so low in supplies. Let's re-roll this one. 3. So first we roll the dice, then we salvage. Bloodart trap, wonderful. Roll for injury. 3, that means that an active is wounded. Then we're going to march 2. 1, 2. We're going to be out in the open, so we will both do and receive more damage. And let's see what our contact is. Alright, Alien Squad. 3 awareness and 8 firepower. So they're out in the open, so they would get 4 because they have a +1. But also in this area they get a bonus, so they get a +1. So let's work this out. Okay, so they have an 8 firepower, +1 because of the zone, +1 because we're out in the open, and then plus another 2 because we have the additional dice there. Oh no. Well, I think we're going to need to spend some ammo here. So what you can do is for every ammo that you spend, you can add an additional die. And these guys look dangerous, so maybe we're even going to spend... but I really want to save the ammo for bosses later. Okay, let's do 2. Ooh, yay, I see a 6 in there. So we do 3 damage, that means they're down to 9. Four does 2 hits. And I have 3 3s. 1, 2, 3. Oh no. Okay, well they survived. And they're gonna fight back at us. They have a firepower of 4. So, I forgot a rule. I was supposed to add +1 to the combat table here. So they would have taken a bit more damage, but I forgot, so I guess that's on me. We're just going to have to add an additional 1 to our injuries though. So that means that the 4 is a 5, so a wounded is killed. The 2 3s are both 4s now, so that means that 2 wounded are killed, so 1 is wounded and killed, and then 1 active is wounded. And then we have a 1, which is now a 2, so an active is wounded. Okay, well, at least the aliens are dealt with, and we can hopefully move on. Hopefully survive to get to the end of this checkpoint. Things are starting to look a little bad. Good, no 1s. 6s, 2 3s. 4 stealths. Engage. Salvage. I'm not going to roll anymore because I just don't want to risk having another confrontation. So let's salvage. Alien weapon, +1 ammo. Then we're going to march 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it for that turn. This is a lot of stealth. Maybe we can even potentially stealth our way out of a combat. If we do, that means we have to go back 1 space, but it would, yeah, maybe be useful if this is a really dangerous enemy. So no salvage. Let's march 2. And we're in cover here, so that's good. Okay, we have a boss. His awareness is 4. I don't want to fight this boss. We have enough dice to get around him because his firepower is 8, and yeah, I just think that probably it's not worth it. So let's spend our 4 stealth dice to get around the boss and move back 1. We don't get to score this guy at the end though because we just stealth past him. So yeah, I can see that we already have a lot of stealth dice, but we're not allowed to stealth 2 turns in a row. So I'm just going to re-roll these. Oh no. And yeah, I'll just put this in the stealth bucket. So let's salvage and hope it's actually something helpful. Yes, +1. Then we'll march, and I'm going to march 1 space. And then we have contact. Witch Doctor, he has 5 firepower, +2. But since we are under cover of like bushes and shrubs and trees in this jungle, that means that he has less awareness. We don't have enough stealth to get around him anyway. But we're all also going to be rolling at -1 on the combat tables. So let's fight. So 2 6s means that I have 2 5s, and I do 2 hit points of damage for each. 4 is now a 3. And the 1 does nothing. So he still survives with 2 hit points, so he'll roll against us. Ooh, alright, so the 6 is now a 5 because we're under cover, but this is still pretty bad. A wounded is killed. And a 3 at -1 is an active is wounded. But he's not a boss, so we can count him as defeated and add him to our little score pile. Lots of salvage here. Yeah, I'm going to put these 2 in stealth. I'm going to re-roll all of these. Very good. So no salvage, then we'll march, and we will go 1 2, and then spend our last 1 to get to the checkpoint. And then with our 2 leftover command die, we can put them in any other box. Let's make these engage dice. So a headhunter with firepower 6. We have 5 dice to roll against him though, so with any luck we'll be okay. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. Takes 2 damage. And then another 2 damage. And these 2 ones do Nothing. All right. So yeah, he still has 2 dice to fight back with. And he rolls 2 4s. That means that 2 of my woundeds are killed. But I made it to the checkpoint. Since I'm here, I get +3 supplies, +2 ammo. All recovery rolls are normal. Nobody's wounded though, so we don't have to recover. And we are on to the next zone. Ooh, the Swamp of the Dead. Okay, this map has special rules. So it says here that any squad that gets wounded in this zone are placed to the bitten box on the zone. So squad members in the bitten box cannot be healed using supplies, and then we'll look at the checkpoint info for further details. It basically says here that at the checkpoint, any of our bitten squad members are going to turn on us and we're going to have to fight them. And at the end, all of the zombies are going to be dead and anybody wounded will also be dead. So yeah, this is a pretty deadly map to be on, aptly named Swamp of the Dead. So let's see if we can make it out of this one alive. We have a shorter, more dangerous route and a longer, slightly safer route. I think we should probably try going the long way. Excellent, no contact. For salvage. And I'll just put these in stealth and engage, even though we're not going to have an encounter. So we'll march 2. And then we will draw on our salvage and hope that this is good. Half-eaten dino, no effect, so all of these extra dice really will do nothing for us. And that's that turn, but at least nobody is injured. No enemy contact again, very, very good. And again, I'm just going to be happy not fighting. So after this, then we salvage. Rusty shotgun +2 plus our additional die here, so we get +3 ammo. That is fantastic. We have 11 now. And then let's march 3. Gotta fight this turn. We really, really don't want to take damage on this map, so I'm gonna try to be safe. And if we march 2, we'll be in a safer area. And 2 salvage. Let's re-roll these. Okay. Rebel soldier, +1 active, wonderful. And then let's march. Okay, now we have contact. Oh no, it is a boss T-Rex, but thankfully it's a dinosaur and not a zombie, so it doesn't really get a bonus for that. And we are under some cover, so that means that he's going to roll less damage on us, and he has less awareness, so that would mean that he has only 3 awareness, but I have only... but I do have this command die, so I can move this over to stealth, and then I have enough to stealth around this T-Rex. I'll have to go back 1, but it's totally worth it in my opinion. I just can't score him at the end now, though. that's a lot of ones. 1, 5. And another one. Oh no, this is not looking good for us. Reroll this one last time. 4. All right. Don't get to move this turn. Oh no. Okay, here we have a rebel zombie. So, to start with, he has 8 firepower. However, we are in his zone, so that is +1. And we have an additional 5 dice, so that's an additional +5, so that means that he has 14 firepower. Oh no. The good news is that we have a lot of ammo, and I really, really don't want us to be injured this time around. So, let's see, we have these 3 dice, and we have 11 ammo. Let's be wild, let's spend 5 ammo, okay? So we'll have only 6 left, but that would be really bad if we got damaged here, because we are getting pretty low on troops. And now we just cross our fingers. Okay. So we are still in hiding over here. So that means that we roll at -1 on the damage table. So the 6 is a 5. We do 2 damage. These 2 5s are 4s. So we do 2 damage. For each. And these 2 4s are 3s. That's 1 hit each. These 2 2s are 1s, nothing, and this 1 is also nothing. So despite all of this ammo, he still will attack us with 5 dice, and I don't know how this is going. Okay, so the 6 is a 5, which means a wounded is killed. We have no wounded, so that means an active is wounded, and he is bitten. A 4 is a 3, so an active is wounded. So we have another zombie over here. These 2 3s are each going to be 2s, which means 2 actives are wounded. And this 2 is going to be 1, so nothing here. He counts as defeated, but yeah, I don't know if we're going to make it to the end of this zone, let alone one more after this, but yeah, let's just see where this takes us. Good, no contact. Lots of salvage. I'm going to take that. More salvage. So we'll march 1. Oh wait, sorry. I always forget this. Salvage, then march. So first salvage. Human bones, creepy but no effect. So yeah, this doesn't do anything for us. It's march 1. And that's the end of that turn. No fight this round. That is very, very good. Lots of movement. Old corpse, creepy but no effect. We are just not lucky, but at least it's not getting injured, so that's good, because I think if we get injured with a salvage card, that still counts as being bitten. So, yeah, not ideal. But we can march 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, oh, so close to the checkpoint. First we salvage. Broken rifle, +1 ammo, always useful. Then we're going to march. Then we hit our enemy over here, but thankfully we have at least 5 die. Okay, a boss dinosaur, a Baronix. It has firepower of 6, +1 because of this die here. And yeah, we are going to need all of the luck we can get with this guy. So I also do want to keep some of the ammo though for fighting the zombies, so I'm just going to spend 1. And hopefully that'll be enough. Two 4s. It does 2 damage each. 3. 1 damage. And 2 2s each do 1 damage. Yes! Defeated. So now we just have to deal with our zombie squad. Let's see what it says here. So, checkpoint is a crashed airliner. Gain +3 supplies. 1, 2, 3. Recover wounded as normal. Nope. Members in the bitten box turn and attack. Their firepower is equal to the number in the bitten box, so they have 4, and they are going to attack us. I guess we don't get to use any of our ammo at this point. I guess they get the first action, so I think this is probably going to be the end of us, but let's see. Oh no, yep, no, not good. So we have 1 active that's killed, a wounded is killed, so an active is wounded, a 4, a wounded is killed, and the rest are zombies. So that was how our adventure came to an end. Yeah, we have now just 4 zombie squad members kind of roaming around in this horrible swamp. But I guess that's just how it goes sometimes, especially in a crazy game like this. So yeah, in any case, let's get into our wrap-up. As you can see, Get to the Checkpoint plays very similarly to Get to the Chapter, with one big major difference at this point, which is the way that you encounter enemies and events in the jungle. So in the early version of this game, you would have to roll on tables for the enemy contact and for the salvage. And each of the tables would have 6 different options, and there would be a different one for each zone that you're in. In this version of the game, instead of rolling on tables, we very simply draw a card. So we have a stack of enemies, and we have a stack of possible salvage outcomes. Whether you prefer rolling on tables or drawing a card is really a matter of personal taste, though I do think that a lot of people will probably warm up to the idea of drawing cards because of the artwork and because of the convenience. I do like this card version, though I think I still prefer the older way of rolling on tables because it allows every zone to have its own unique flavor. However, I did talk to the designer recently, and he told me that he wants to introduce this classic mode with tables for every zone, potentially as a stretch goal later on in this campaign. Now, I can't make any promises because I'm not the designer, but it sounds like he's very serious in making this a new mode. I'm personally very happy to hear this news because I would love to have the choice of either cards or tables, or maybe there will even be a mode where you can use both. You can have the best of both worlds and you can play with whatever style you're feeling like that day. So as to how Get to the Checkpoint compares to Get to the Chopper, it's very similar to that previous game, however everything has been polished and brought up to a new level. As you can see, there's crazy, gorgeous, beautiful new artwork that completely fits the theme. There's this neon color sort of thing that's going on there, and it really evokes the vibe of 1980s action films. So in my first review of an early version of this game, I did say that I liked this game, but there were a few things that I would really like to see. This is pretty nuts, but literally everything that I asked for has been put into this game. I wanted different difficulty modes, and this game now has 4. I wanted more zones, and obviously there's going to be more zones and potentially more unlocked down the road for stretch goals. And more than anything, I wanted a scoring system because I love beating my high score. So I didn't show you how to add up the score with my last game because personally I actually don't score my games unless I win. But yeah, you can score your game on a little sheet like this, and you can calculate how many points that you got based on how many zones you completed, how many surviving squad members you have, and of course the bonus difficulty points. So yeah, I got literally everything I asked for, and it's all looking pretty good, to be honest with you. But who is this game for exactly? Well, Get to the Checkpoint, as you can see, is a very light game, but it's very silly and it's very fun and it's very strong on narrative. So Get to the Checkpoint is really not a game for you if you want extremely deep strategy, extremely complex gameplay, and if you are really opposed to rolling dice, because this game is highly luck dependent, although there are a few interesting choices that you can make along the way. This is a game about taking your little squad of soldiers through these various crazy locations in this jungle and seeing how they survive or how they don't. There's all kinds of crazy enemies like zombies and dinosaurs and aliens, and I think probably in the final version there's going to be even more. I know in the prototype version there were robots and Nazis. It was just bananas and I was in love with it. This game is perfect if you just want to relax, have a few laughs, and be surprised by all of these wild cards and zones as they pop up along the way. I do want you to be aware that I was paid for this preview and that I was promised a copy of the game once it is finished. But I also want you to be aware that I would never promote anything on this channel that I think is bad or that I actually don't like. Get to the Checkpoint is obviously not a game for everyone, but I think it's a good fit for people who like this kind of silly, Technicolor 1980s action movie sort of vibe. So if the idea of taking a squad of soldiers through a South American jungle on a wild 1980s action movie sort of adventure, then I don't know if you can do much better than Get to the Checkpoint. If this game looks interesting to you, I highly suggest that you check it out on Kickstarter. There are still several stretch goals left to go, more of them are being revealed over time, and this is just a fun campaign to keep your eye on. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the things that I do here, then please hit subscribe, and if you want to help support the channel, well, I do have a Patreon. I want to give an extra special big thanks to my heroic tier patron, Joshua Jumbles. So until next time, friends, stay adventurous.